Good morning, this is Vance, and this is Thursday, April the 20th, 2017. CL trades for today using the slow high method for price action. Yesterday was a bigger sell-off, and I want to talk briefly about that yesterday, going into today and see what the overnight is, just to give you some perspective of what you can anticipate for today, or just one idea. Generally speaking, you probably want to have where our price is going to head. They're going to rotate back to the top of the existing channel. Are they going to retrace back to where they started on the downward slide? Are they going to continue on? We're going to follow through to newer lows. I mean, these are things that you kind of consider as we get closer to the 9 o'clock or to the open. At least those are things I consider. But let's take a look at yesterday for a quick review. We had the DOE report, which was slightly bullish. In fact, I don't know if it was really bullish. I mean, one of the things that they talked about is that it was about the same as the API report from the day before yesterday. Prices are at a higher level. I mean, we're talking at $53. I mean, it was kind of banging up $53 yesterday. This is where the DOE report came out. But then, even though it was slightly, I guess the market was anticipating a more bullish report because price started to sell off. Now, once we start getting a sell-off and once we get sellers into the market, sometimes it carries on a life of its own. The volume just kind of takes over and it becomes more emotional, and prices will head down further than they anticipate in the first place. I mean, we might have sellers are thinking that maybe prices only come down a short while, but as it picks up momentum, it continues to extend further than what people had expected. So I don't see this after the DOE report, a $2 decline being really something that was anticipated. I didn't really anticipate it. I would think that it was. I didn't think it was that bearish a report. Evidently, there's other things that are influencing the marketplace. I mean, the only other alternative is saying that the market was expecting a more bullish report. When they didn't get it, prices sold off. They didn't feel they were not sustainable at that near that $53 level. Now, how much of a decline was it? Well, right from the opening, from the top, I mean, from the overnight high, it was 53.08. Well, it was actually the high was at the DOE report, 53.08. And if you look at it yesterday, this is kind of like a top of a range, you could say, from the overnight in this area. And so it was close to 53.08, and then, of course, it just sold off for the most of the day. Now, 2:30, right here when markets close, it's kind of rotated back up. And if you look at it from where we are right now, as far as yesterday's low at 50.51, today's high is 51.38. So it's gained back 80 ticks from the low of yesterday to the overnight high. So it appears that price does really want to head back in a northerly direction. In other words, price wants to gain back some of the sell-off from yesterday. So that may be a further indication that it was emotional. But as we talk right now, we're very close to what the overnight low was at 50.88. So here, this is where we are right now, and it's 8:30. So we've had this decline in the last 35 minutes or so, or 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, 20 minutes, let's say, from roughly from about 7 o'clock, So the last hour, we've had this bit of this decline. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So we've had this decline over the course of the last, let me just mark it out. So right from 7:42 to right now. So we've had this decline. So let's take a look at suggesting that, this is the, let me just kind of mark this off. So we'll say that this area here, maybe we can say that this is initial support. We've had a decline in this area. We've had a break of this channel, maybe looking at going long if price gets down to this area. Or if we have breakthrough and follow through, perhaps getting short, maybe to retest the low of yesterday. But again, this when you look at the overnight, there wasn't, there's this back and forth. You know, prices sold off, gained, sold off, gained, sold off a little bit. Are we going to gain back up? So maybe we're looking at more of this area as being a range for the rest of, at least for the initial. But that's why it's so critical when volume starts coming in at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll see how prices respond, or how the market responds to that. So at any rate, what you'd want to look at is, if you're going to go long, is to, let me just change this. If you're going to go long, I'll try to limit in near these, keeping your stop below the previous lows. And if you're going to limit in on the sell side, if price gets up to this area, you want to keep it over here. Right now, you have to say that you'd have to have either this, you're looking at a trade from this juncture, from 50, let's say call the $51 level. $51, again, you're talking about a century number. His price is going to break through and follow through to lower levels, maybe retest the previous low, or are we going to rotate back up to today's daily high? We'll have to see where the momentum takes us, what the opening is going to be, see how buyer and seller sentiment shakes out this morning. So that's it for now. This is the last pre-market bite for this week. I'm not going to have one. I'm not going to do these on Friday, but I'll come back and I'll have an update of what transpired today in this evening. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. You know the drill. It's at slowhandmethod@gmail.com. Bye for now.